On day 13, we will be exploring the Zealand area. With Eric, we will be going to Roskilde and then on to Hillerød, Elsinore before heading back to Copenhagen. The Danish people are very peculiar about their ecology. They check farts with sensitive smelling equipment. And if there's so many per mile on the road, then they have to fine you. Well, actually, fart really means speed, and it's checking your speed limit. And then on to Roskilde. There we'll be seeing two places. First we'll go to the Viking Ship Museum, and then over to the cathedral. The Viking Ship Museum is a very unique and interesting place. It consists of the Ship Museum and Museum Island. On Museum Island, they demonstrate how the old boats were built, and they're exploring the wrecks that were left there.
Ships they've been working on.
You can see many different demonstrations here. And also you can see models of all the different boats that they found. The Seastein is one of their most famous ships they've built there. It's traveled all the way to Scotland, and it's a full-size mock-up of a Viking longship. They have different artists, wood carvers, metal workers. The reason the museum is here, though, is there was a village in this area, and they blocked several of the channels going into that village by filling boats with rocks and sinking them. These ships remained there, and now a museum was built around them. And as you can see from this picture, the ships were located all around Museum Island and were dug up.
Maritime find in Denmark. It was decided to salvage the 5 ships from the bottom of the field.
They built a seawall around it and excavated the ships. They are now being preserved in water tanks and studied very closely for construction and other such things. Let's go look at the ship museum now. Here you see the results of what was dug up. Several ships that were sunk in that channel. The wire frames are used to show what the ship would have looked like, and the wood is the original wood. We had trading ships, fishing boats, a small longship, an ocean-going trader, and a great longship. And they have models of both the longship and the trading boat that kids can play in and learn about the culture of the Viking time. Let's look at some of the displays here. Next we'll head to the cathedral. It's up the top of the hill, so we'll drive.
Yes, Deborah would have had a problem with this.
Over 40 kings and queens have been buried here. It's the place where most of the royalty is buried. Outside is even a royal palace. Let's look around some. The altarpiece has many intricate wood carvings in it, as you can see here. And these are pictures of the various archbishops who have been in this cathedral. But what most people come to look at is the tombs of the kings. Let's look around some of them.
This is the Chapel of the Magi. You can see the beautiful colors.
As we look from the cathedral, we can see what the fjord looks like here at Roskilde. And now we'll be headed on to Hillerød. You'll notice on the side that there's a bike path as usual on these main roads. And at Hillerød, we'll be visiting Frederiksborg Castle.
That's Deborah talking to the ducks.
There we'll eat a meal in the restaurant. And we'll also see the baby carriages for all weather. They take them out in the rain and everything. Frederiksborg Castle is the National Museum now. And while there, we noticed the crew filming and were interested to see what was happening, and saw Rick Steves, a prominent tour guide and author of many books and television programs, was there at the same time we were. Let's look around Frederiksborg Castle some. This is the Neptune Fountain. And inside is a beautiful church. And it has some very beautiful paintings of various scenes of Jesus' life there. Let's look around inside this museum. You'll see here that these plaster deer have real antlers. And there's paintings everywhere depicting the history of the country. The ceilings are works of art in themselves. And there's a room of various medals and things that have been given to the king. Why, is that the Queen Deborah? It's interesting to note that every single floor had a different pattern in its hardwood. This is the throne room upstairs. You'll notice the lions that protect the throne. You'll also notice the royal family as they are here pictured at a wedding. The ceiling is very intricately detailed with relief carvings, and there's a frieze around this outside of the room of all different kinds of animals. And of course, Deborah touched. The palace is surrounded by many beautiful gardens. Now we head to Elsinore. On the way, we stop at Fredensborg Palace. It's the palace that the king and queen stay in the spring and autumn. And now on to Elsinore in the rain to see Kronborg Castle, the setting of Hamlet. Elsinore is a very beautiful city, but it's strategically located just across the Öresund Sound from Sweden. It's a very narrow strait, And so the castle at Kronborg was actually here as a very defensible fortress to try and protect against the Swedish people. It's a strong fortress with an inner and outer fortress, as you can see here. We got there later than it was open, and so we weren't able to go inside, but this is what it would have looked like inside if we'd have made it in. And this, as we look from Denmark, we look across the Øresund Strait to Sweden on the other side. This area is plied by many ferry boats back and forth on a constant level. And then we head back to Copenhagen for the night, and Eric leaves for home.